thought you had to sit in a uncomfortable position and maybe chant or light incense. It turns out none of that is true, but that was my impression.
What was it that got you through the door so that you did give it a fair shot?
Science. The science is overwhelming. It shows that you can lower your blood pressure, boost your immune system, and the really sci-fi part of this is that you can literally change your brain. The gray matter in the part of your brain that regulates self-awareness and compassion will get thicker if you meditate, and the part associated with stress gets smaller. So when I heard about the science, I was willing to give it a try.
What's interesting, and you write about this a lot in the book, is every time you would take one step forward in giving meditation a try, you were always worried that you were going to lose your drive, that competitive fire that is essential in a pretty cutthroat business, television news.
You ever see Rocky III?
Yes.
And when Rocky Balboa goes soft because he's too successful, and Mr. T, who's hungry, who's got the eye of the tiger, comes and beats the crap out of him. That's the fear, and I think that's the fear a lot of people have. Is if I meditate, am I going to go soft? If I'm too happy, is that incompatible with creativity or professional drive? As it turns out, there's a reason why meditation is being done by people in the U.S. military, by corporate executives, by lawyers, doctors, and scientists, because it actually makes you more focused and less carried away by your emotions and better at what you do.
The reason you stayed with it when you were still in the early stages is that in fits and starts, it did make you feel better.
My initial experiences with it were that it was tough. It's really hard. It's exercise for your brain. You're just trying to focus on your breath, and every time your mind wanders, you're trying to bring your mind back to your breath. And that sounds really boring and really simple, but it's extremely difficult to do. It's like holding a live fish in your hands. And over time, though, I found I had a couple of immediate benefits. One is I was better able to focus, because every time your mind wanders and you bring it back to your breath, it's like a bicep curl for your brain. And the other thing is that I was better able at yanking myself out of this fog of memory and projection into the future that we walk around in all the time. And I don't think people realize that. Most of your life is lived thinking about things that happened or thinking about things that are going to happen or may never happen, as opposed to focusing on what's happening right now. And that's the immediate benefit of meditation. And there are more.
You were self-conscious about this, embarrassed even about this. Did you tell other people what you were doing?
I told other people initially that I was a meditator, and people would give me very funny looks. And that's where I got the title of the book from, because people would ask me, why are you meditating? With the sort of parenthetical assumption, what's happened to you? What's the matter with you? Why would you do this? And I started saying, well, it makes me 10% happier. And I noticed that when I would say that, the look on people's faces would transform from scorn to interest. Because 10% is reasonable, and it's a pretty good return on investment, and it makes it sound a lot less kooky.
After you'd been doing meditation for a while, you decided to go to a different level, and you went to a 10-day meditation retreat in Northern California. Right from the start, you were a little skeptical because one of the instructions was, don't bring a Walkman, and this was only a couple years ago.
Or a beeper. Yes, I was it's like, what are they going to ask me? Don't bring your fax machine. Yeah, the retreat was both the most annoying and most incredible thing I've ever done. You're with all these people who, very nice people, but it's solidly, socks and sandals NPR group, and mostly much older than me. And everybody's walking around silent and very focused on trying to meditate. It's a strange environment. However, when you pull yourself out of the world in that way and just kind of do battle with your mind for 10 days, some pretty incredible things can happen. And you can see how most of our life is motivated by these things that we're not even aware of. Mostly we're motivated by desire and aversion. I want this or I don't want this. Every shift in our chair, every snack we have, every plan we make is motivated by wanting or not wanting. And when you kind of step back from either of those urges and just see things as they are, pretty remarkable things can happen.
Among your colleagues, George Stephanopoulos meditates. Diane Sawyer meditates. Barbara Walters tried it.
Yeah, she says she's going to try again.
Didn't stick.
No, but I co-hosted The View with her the other day, and she swore up and down she's going to try again.
So all the people who a few years ago, when you first began this, were almost laughing at you, were profoundly skeptical, a lot of them have come around and changed their minds.
I think it's I think it's the crest of a wave. I really do. I think that is that the right analogy? I think it's the beginning of something. I think the fact that you're seeing people at ABC News of all places, never mind the Marines and the U.S. Army doing it, means that we're in a position where we're going to see a lot of people doing it. What we need are more people stepping forward and saying, I do this, who seem to the rest of us like normal human beings, aren't wearing robes or promising that it's going to fix everything in your life, just talking about it in a reasonable, measured way. And I think that will make it more attractive to people, and the science getting out there.
How about your goals just for yourself?
It's like learning how to play the violin. It's a really difficult skill. I mean, it sounds so simple. Sit there and try to feel your breath coming in and out. But it's actually, the further you get into it, tricky and subtle business, and it can just transforms the way you see the world. And so I'm actually personally interested in going a lot further in it. And I've become interested in the issue of enlightenment and whether that's possible. And I've actually thought about writing a next book on, I've never said this before, but other than to my wife, but I've thought about seeing if I can get to some of those early stages and writing about that.